Today on The Big Story, the 18th month US-China trade war comes to a truce with the signing of a Phase 1 deal. What happens next? What's your lucky number? Well, definitely not 49 for some online Toto Quick Pick punters. Tough choice for students, Poly or JC. Senior Education Correspondent Sandra Devi shares tips to help decide which route to choose. It's Thursday, 5:30 p.m. here in Singapore, and you're watching The Big Story, where we will discuss the hottest topic of the day and explain why it matters. I'm Haryanto Diman, coming to you live from the Straits Times newsroom. The US-China trade war comes to a truce as a partial trade agreement has finally been signed by the world's two biggest economies. The so-called Phase 1 deal is meant to be the first in a series of agreements that will bring an end to the trade conflict that has shaken markets, increased consumer costs, and caused a slowdown in the global economy. Here's a quick summary of the deal. For the next 2 years, Beijing has committed to buy at least $200 billion worth of American goods and services, more than it did in 2017. The additional purchases are made up of around $77 billion in manufacturing, $52 billion in energy, $38 billion in services, and $32 billion in agricultural goods. To find out more about the implications for Singapore and the region of this trade deal, here are highlights from the Asian Insider ST's Analysis talk show.
So, today, joining us to discuss this Phase 1 agreement and its implications are Curtis Chin from Bangkok and Vikram Khanna from Singapore. Curtis is a former US ambassador to the Asian Development Bank and an Asia Fellow at the Milken Institute. Vikram is an associate editor at the Straits Times. Good morning to both of you.
Good morning.
So, Curtis, perhaps I should start with you. Does this show that tariffs work? I mean, there is a lot in this agreement. China has conceded a lot, although we know that the tougher issues are supposed to be in a Phase 2 agreement, and we don't know when that's going to be. But so far, do you think tariffs have worked?
Absolutely, Nirmal. For good and for bad, the signing of this trade deal, this Phase 1 trade deals, shows that indeed President Trump's approach of putting in tariffs has worked in many ways. I'm no fan of tariffs. I've been a longtime advocate for free trade and fair trade, but we're at this situation today because of 3 decades, let's say, of engagement with China, which has led to a relationship that does need to be readjusted, to be rebalanced. And through President Trump's implementing of something that many people were not quite fans of, myself included, of tariffs, we have at least made this initial step forward. I have to say, give President Trump due credit for where we are. I think in reality, it's a pause. It's an initial resetting of this relationship. It's a clear political win for President Trump. But there's so much more that needs to be done. It's not just implementation of this Phase 1 deal, but addressing some of the much more difficult challenges that China has posed to many U.S. administrations and many countries around the world, including here in Southeast Asia. But to sum it up, indeed, tariffs have worked so far, but let's see where it leads to next.
Vikram, I'd like to bring you in for give you the last word, just 20 seconds. So do you feel more sanguine now about Phase 1 deal? Do you think markets and economies in the region will see, a little bit of a return?
Well, I would give it a slightly more cautious welcome. I mean, I think, as I mentioned, I think it is quite fragile. I think it's not clear, at least from China's point of view, it's not clear what they need to really do to get under the sort of 360 billion or 250 billion, 25% tariffs that remain in place. There's no schedule for tariff rollback. There's nothing to say that, okay, if you do this, we'll roll back by this much. If you do this, if you roll back by this much. It's all up in the air. I think this is a deal that both sides can walk away from quite easily. China can decide that the US is not responding by reducing tariffs fast enough, so we're going to stop buying American soybeans. America can say China is not living up to its commitments, so we're going to snap back on the tariffs. So I think this deal is subject to a lot of uncertainty. I mean, it's welcome. It's always good to have a deal. A deal is better than no deal, and this is not a comprehensive deal. So I would give it only a very cautious welcome.
Okay, great. Vikram, thank you very much. Curtis, thank you very much. That was great. Thanks a lot for your time, and have a great day out there.
Thanks, Nirmal. Bye-bye.
So lots of big numbers in the phase one deal with China, and President Trump also is going to get his US-Mexico-Canada agreement, the USMCA, passed by the Senate and signed into law. So he will have plenty to talk about at his rallies, and it will go down very well with his support base as the campaign gears up.
Yeah, now that's an excerpt of the latest episode of the Asian Insider on the US-China trade deal. To catch the full episode of the Asian Insider, as Nimal and his guests discuss the implications of this trade deal on Singapore and the region, you can head over to the Straits Times channel on YouTube or Facebook. Now moving on to our second segment, the Ministry of Home Affairs is investigating Singapore pools after it was discovered that punters using its online Toto Quick Pick option have been affected by 2 software glitches. The first glitch caused the system to exclude the number 49. Under the Toto Quick Pick system, punters allow the system to generate 6 numbers for them from 1 to 49. The second glitch involved the Quick Pick system roll. Here, the system would randomly generate 5 of the 6 numbers in a row. The 6th number is then assigned an R. The R is like a joker card representing the remaining 44 numbers between 1 to 49. But the system converted the largest of the 6th number to an R instead. We have journalist Tan Tami in the studio to tell us more. Welcome, Tami.
Hi.
Now, Tami, let's start off, right? For our viewers who are uninitiated with Toto, could you briefly explain how does the Toto Quick Pick option work and how does one win, basically?
Okay, so in Toto, you're basically picking at least 6 numbers, and any numbers of your choice from 1 to 49 to place your bet. So with the Quick Pick option, the system does it for you.
Right.
So you don't need to pick your numbers. And in a Toto draw, there are 6 winning numbers plus an additional sort of bonus number.
Okay.
And if any of the numbers that you pick, 3 of them at least fit the winning numbers, you get a prize. You know?
Ah, okay. So you don't have to get all 6?
No, but I guess if you want the top prize, you have to get all 6. So
My goodness, but it's not easy, right? I would imagine.
chances are very low. So
Because the numbers are from 1 to
49.
49. Okay.
Yeah.
And what exactly were the glitches and how did they affect punters? I mean, do we know roughly also how many people were affected by this?
So roughly, we know about 3% of total sales were affected, and it was quite limited in that sense to people who placed online Quick Pick bets. So if you did it in the store, it's like I don't think you're affected.
You're affected.
Yeah,
Okay, so
so-
how did the glitches basically affect the punters? What happened exactly?
So in the first glitch, they left out the number 49 in your Quick Pick option.
Okay.
You know, so it essentially means that if you did Quick Pick, no matter how many times you did it, you will never get 49.
Ah.
So you lost on that chance in the case where 49 was a winning number or a bonus number. So your chances were a bit lower. you
Yeah.
know, so that's the first glitch. And the second glitch is a system called the Quick Pick system roll.
Right.
So basically you have 5 numbers that use Quick Pick, and you have a 6th number that's represented by R. So that's that rolling number. So it represents the rest of the 44 numbers that are not there. So, so what happened was that the system will usually pick 6 numbers using a random, using 6 random numbers, and replace one of the 6. So all 6 had equal chances. One of the 6 with a rolling number, but the glitch meant that it replaced the largest number. So so in that sense, the randomness was gone.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah,
so
yeah.
that would have affected perhaps some sort of chances. You know, without going into the maths of it.
Yeah. So that means the R basically it's like a joker, right?
Yeah, joker card.
It's
Yeah.
a joker card because it could represent any number.
Yes. Yeah.
Right? And therefore, in a way, I suppose it ups your chance
Yeah,
even more.
any of the
right?
winning numbers.
Yeah, because then you would only need, say, 2 numbers plus the R to win a prize.
No, you still need 3 of the basic winning, but you have a better chances.
Better chance. Okay,
Essentially,
okay.
better
And you know, having said that, with this glitch, did Singapore Pools mention whether they're going to put any preventive measures to make sure any future glitches like that don't happen again?
Okay, so right now we don't have that much info about what is being done essentially after it happened, because I think investigations are still ongoing.
Yeah.
But we do know for sure that the glitches have been removed, so you can bet safely.
Okay.
You know,
You can
with
be
peace of
rest
mind.
assured that you are
Getting the maximum chances, no matter how low.
Right.
so-
Well, thank you so much, Tami, for coming onto the show to explain a bit more, because it can be quite complex in terms of the different systems, as it were, right? Now, for more, you can check it out on our website, straitstimes.com. And now let's move on to What's Trending, where Dylan will share with us what's buzzing in the internetverse. Over to you, Dylan.
Thanks, Arento. It's time for What's Trending. First up, talk about being inconsiderate. Sembawang Hot Spring Park may have reopened for less than 2 weeks, but it seems that things are already heating up. In a Facebook post, a user captured a picture of a man submerging not just his feet in the foot bath, but his entire lower body in the shallow hot spring water. Just like the water, the man's behavior has got some netizens steaming, calling him uncivilized and disgusting, saying that the water will be contaminated with dirt and his sweat. Yikes! Now moving on, I've got a bad feeling about this. Actor Mark Hamill mixed up the emoji flags of the United States and Malaysia because, as he puts it, they were teeny tiny on his screen. In a tweet, the Star Wars actor mistakenly inserted the wrong emoji in his announcement to delete Facebook. He later corrected and acknowledged his error. Now, it just might be a blessing in disguise though. Hamill went on to tweet that he had accidentally blundered into a load of Malaysian followers after the mistake, ending it off with the hashtag #HamiHeartsSoutheastAsia. Seems like Malaysia loves him too. Malaysian fans went wild after they received an on-screen shout-out from the Jedi legend, even if it were accidental. And finally, calling all veteran gamers out there, indulge in some nostalgia and play a few rounds of Counter-Strike with your friends. Screenshots and footage of a classic HDB map released about 20 years ago has gone viral again on Facebook. Way back then, the classic Counter-Strike 1.6 version had spawned a map modeled after Choa Chu Kang Avenue 3 in Singapore. Here's a quick look.
Hey, come and help me. I'm coming.
The best part, the map comes with a Singlish audio pack with characters shouting things like Grenada or Hey, come and help le. It also features realistic details of bus service signposts, local buses, rubbish chutes and lifts, just to name a few. Talk about a blast from the past. I'm Dylan Ang, and that's all we have for What's Trending today. If you've seen a story you want to share, tell us on Straits Times Facebook page.
Yikes, I don't think I want to go to a hot spring where someone has already dipped himself inside as well. Now, for our last segment, with the O-level results released on Monday, students now have to make a tough decision to choose the 3-year Polytechnic route or the 2-year JC route. Figures from the Ministry of Education show that in recent years, slightly more than half of school leavers are opting for the Poly route. Now, 10 years ago, only about 46% went to polytechnics. The Ministry of Education, or MOE, had planned for 22,000 places to be made available this year in the 5 polytechnics. Of this, 20% of the places will go to students who had applied through the early admissions exercise. MOE said the 5 polytechnics received a total of 13,800 applications for the EAE. About 6,000 applicants successfully received a conditional offer. About 4,400 students are likely to take up the offer of places. We have Senior Education Correspondent Sandra Devi to tell us more. Welcome, Sandra.
Hi, thanks.
Now, Sandra, if you could tell us, right, why are more students choosing the Poly route instead of the JC?
Well, I think, as some of the people I interviewed for the story said, the polytechnics are offering courses in specific areas, and it's in a lot of emerging industries where there is huge demand for workers in that industry who are experts in that field. If you know what you want to do and there is a polytechnic course offering it, it kind of makes sense, right?
Yeah.
For students to take that route. But having said that, there are a lot of school leavers who are still unsure about the path they want to take. And you know, for them, I would suggest that the JC route is still the better route.
Right.
So so polytechnics have become more popular, but I don't think it's a matter of which is more popular than the other. I think ministry in recent years has encouraged students to go for where their interests and their natural talents lie, and they made it easier for students to get into some of these courses based on their aptitude and their interest, because that's a big consideration now for admission.
Now, Sandra, figures also show that in recent years, including last year, about 29% of these school leavers, they enrolled in JC's and Millennia Institute, which offers a 3-year program that leads all the way to A-levels.
Right.
The figure had inched up from about 27% in 2009. What does this route offer to students, the MI route?
Okay, the MI route is basically a 3-year route to the A-levels. So you have one more year, really, you know, to prepare for the A-levels. So these are for students who may need that additional time, you know, because A-levels, as you know, are known to be quite content heavy. You have to mug a lot, right? So it just gives you a little bit more time, you know, to prepare yourself for the A-levels.
Right. And Sandra, you know, as a lot of people, I mean, there's this belief, right, to secure a place in university, take the JC route, or people say higher chances to go to university if you're from a JC. Does this still hold true?
Well, less so. Actually, the new universities that have been set up, they offer a lot of applied, hands-on learning pathways, and they cater to the Polytechnic graduates. So SIT, for example, offers degree courses that align with the diploma courses that are offered in the Polytechnics. They also offer a lot of work-study options so that Polytechnic graduates can work and study at the same time. So they are more suited for the Polytechnic upgraders. So although 70% of junior college students make it to the local universities, and only about over 20% of Polytechnic graduates do so, it's been climbing. You know, there are more courses catering to Polytechnic graduates, and they are making it too hard to get into courses, including medicine, law, and
Now, Sandra, just to wrap the segment up, if you could briefly share with us some tips to those who are undecided, whether is it Poly or JC?
Well, the applications have to go in tomorrow. So I hope by now they are decided, and tomorrow they're just handing in that form. But I would say that if you are more academic in your orientation and you're still undecided on where exactly your career, the kind of careers you want to go into, then take the JC route, because it's a broader curriculum, it gives you more options. But if you know what you're going for and the polys have that course, go for it, you know, especially if you are more into applied hands-on learning.
Well, there you have it, advice from our senior education correspondent, Sandra Devi. If you know what you want to do, then just go for the Poly route. If you're still unsure and you're more academically inclined, then JC is for you. But whatever it is, hey, you know, what is most important is just to stay focused, do your best, and I think that's most important.
And good luck.
And good luck as well. Now, there you have it. For more on this, you can check it out on our Straits Times website. Now, we have it, our top stories for today. For more news and videos, do log on to our website, straitstimes.com. Once again, I'm Haryanto. See you tomorrow for more stories on The Big Story.